Do you want to get fitter and faster in 2018? Thought so. Well, here are 5 killer training sessions to help you do just that. For each of these training sessions, you want to get at least 10 minutes of a warm-up in at the start and at least 5 minutes cooling down at the end. And then this first one is all about getting you used to a range of cadences, which can really help us as cyclists in terms of responding to attacks or getting caught out in the wrong gear or riding over very varied terrain. So after your warm-up, we're going to do 2 lots of 20 minutes at an 8 out of 10 effort level, or around 85 to 90% of your functional threshold power. For the first 5 minutes, hold 60 RPM. For the second 580, then 100, and then for the final 5 minutes, hold 110 RPM if you can. Take 10 minutes of easy ride and then repeat that 20 minutes, only in reverse order. Now initially you might struggle to hold the power through these various cadences, but you will be surprised just how quickly you get comfortable with that. A couple of years ago, through Matt's video with Alberto Contador, we learned that in training he used to do 20-minute efforts on climbs out of the saddle.
Oh, ah, come on, let's go.
Now that might be a little bit too much for your average Joe like you and I, but what we should manage is the following session. Now try to get a slightly longer warm-up in for this one, but then find a 2-minute climb and you want to repeat that 6 to 8 times out of the saddle. Take 3 to 4 minutes of easy riding between each one. Now in terms of intensity, you do want to err on the side of caution with this one, because riding out of the saddle, it is very easy to go too hard too soon and not be able to complete the session. But for the last couple of efforts at least, you should be getting towards a 10 out of 10 effort towards the top of the climb. Now as well as helping your fitness, this should also help your core strength, which will help your cycling as well. But if at any point you experience back pain, abort the session. You may well have heard of this next session before, or even done it yourself actually, because we've got it here on GCN as an indoor training session which you can train along to. Now you can do this on the flat, but preferably you want to find a climb to do it on. Once you've done your warm-up, we're going to do at least 6 intervals which last 3 minutes and 40 seconds each. For the first 30 seconds you want to be at 200% of your FTP, and that is a big effort, almost 10 out of 10 on the effort scale. Then after that, immediately settle in to a power which is smack bang on your FTP, or the sort of power you could roughly sustain for an hour in duration. Then immediately after that, a 10-second sprint to your imaginary line. In between each interval, you want to take at least 5 minutes of easy riding, and as I said, try to get 6 in before your cool down at the end. The idea behind these intervals is that they simulate a race-winning move. So you attack your breakaway companions, you settle into a nice rhythm, and then sprint to the line for a famous solo victory. Or at least that's what I pretend I'm doing when I do this session. This next session is one of our favourites here at GCN, despite the fact that frankly it's quite brutal. After your warm-up, settle straight into a power which is 95% of your FTP, or roughly 9 to 9.5 out of 10 on the effort scale. Try to keep a nice smooth pedalling style throughout and stay in the saddle as much as you can. However, there is a twist, and that is that every 5 minutes you're going to do a 10-second effort, either in or out of the saddle, that is almost flat out, not quite full gas, before settling straight into that sweet spot power. Now this is one of those sessions which is particularly satisfying once you've completed it and you are back home resting and recovering. But because it is so potent, we wouldn't recommend trying to do this more than twice per week at the very most. And in fact, if you're quite new to the sport, you could begin with 30 minutes of this whilst gradually building up over the weeks as you get fitter to the full hour of power. A lot has been said, not least here on GCN over the past few years, about the benefits of being very specific when it comes to your training rides. And we will stick with that. You can get very fit and very fast without ever doing a training ride of longer than 2 hours. Indeed, you can train for a 6-hour Sportive or Gran Fondo without doing a training session longer than 3 hours on the run up to it. That said, there are some benefits to doing longer rides, and that is what this session is aimed at. It should increase your mental strength. It will get your body used to being in that cycling position for hours on end. It will allow you to refine your pacing and fueling strategies, and it will also harden your backside up so you're less prone to saddle sores. So when you've got some free time in your hands and the forecast is good, head out for a nice long 4 to 5 hour ride, preferably with a few mates. You don't need to look at any numbers, just enjoy the ride, find some new roads, and you don't need to go for any KOMs either. Also, if you find yourself with a weekend with some spare time, back-to-back long rides really do offer some great performance gains, i.e. riding when you're already fatigued. However, if you do this, make sure that you give yourself a good 2 to 4 days of recovery time after those 2 back-to-back long rides. Right, those are our 5 sessions for 2018. We'd love to hear how you get on with them. Are they too easy? Were they too hard? Or have you adapted them to make them slightly more interesting? Leave your comments in the section just down below. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so right now by clicking on the globe. Then a couple more videos which are relevant to this one. Firstly, up there, if you've just got a new power meter and you want to know how to measure your FTP, all the info is there. Meanwhile, if you want to try that race-winning intervals indoor session, you can follow along to that by clicking just down here.